Okay, it looks like we're live. I'm just checking because it looks like my camera is a little bit different to everyone else's. So I'm just popping in the chat. So if you are here live with me, I would love to know. And I'd like to know if you can hear me. Okay, I'm just gonna have to find a way to. Hang on. My Mac is all of a sudden getting too hot. So let me just pop this up. Let's see if that helps. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so if you're here with me, just let me know if you can hear. Okay, you can hear me. Yay! Hi Debbie! So awesome to have you here. Alright, so I'm just going to sit back and just tell me if you can hear me. Okay, from here as well. Okay. I think there's a bit of a lag, so if there is, I apologise, but I'm sure that you'll be catching up on everything that we need. So I am so excited to be talking about all of this because everything that I'm about to teach you is quite new for me. Like, some of it is new for me, and a lot of it is also going to be new for you, but it's new that I've been learning in one of my current courses. And because of that, this is going to enable you to individualize certain techniques to help yourself to be able to get more out of all of the exercises and all of the workouts that you're going to be doing. So if you want to look great, if you want to feel great, if you want to get into the shape of your life, that is going to start with understanding how to help your body function optimally. And so today we're going to be going through some breathing, we're going to be going through some posture, we're going to do a little bit of relaxation, and we're going to do some tests. And these tests are going to help us understand where your body is so that we can start to individualize the next few days and then ongoing for you when it comes to technique. Okay, so if you don't have a pen and paper handy, can you please go and grab it? Otherwise, you can use the chat box here. And if you do have a pen and paper handy, just pop in the comments paper. And because I need you to write down a few things. Hang on, actually, I forgot one little thing. So if you watched any of the recent videos, okay, so the resolution has gone down, so that's okay. But if you can't see the resolution properly, just let me know. Okay, so we're going to need to have some paper handy so that we can draw, for example, our rib cage and our posture and things like that. So we're going to begin with a posture check. So if you have a mirror handy, what I would love for you to do is okay, cool, for pen and paper. So we're going to go to a mirror. I'm hoping that you have at least half-length mirror. If you don't, grab your phone and just set it up, and you're going to take a side-on profile picture from like your knees or ankles upwards, sidewards. I know, Debbie, you've already done this. Some of you have also done this, but I would like you to take one, or Debbie, you can look at the one that you've already taken, and I want you to look at it yourself so you can understand how to assess your own posture. Okay, so you would just be, I'm going to kneel and show you an example. So imagine that I'm standing, and I'm just going to stand in my normal resting posture. And then from here, you want to take a photo side on so you can see, and we're going to go over how to look at what your natural posture is. Because there's 3 posture types. Well, there's kind of a little more, it depends. So we've got our anterior pelvic tilt. So I'll actually show you these while we do them. So an anterior tilt is where your bum is stuck back. Your chest might be more pigeon, like open. Your tummy is quite lengthened, but it's quite shortened and tight through the lower back, and your belly might poke out that little bit more. And if you find that you do have this particular posture, you might find that you have tightness or pain in the lower back. You might find that the backs of your legs get quite tight. You might also notice that it's hard to engage your tummy muscles, or maybe it takes a lot of effort to bring the awareness to the area and things like that. You might notice that your rib cage is also a little bit flared, and so that's an anterior tilt. Whereas there's actually the complete opposite, where people almost have that sway. And see how I'm sticking my bum forwards, and because I'm sticking my bum forwards, my butt actually clenches, but then I have this sway back. See how my shoulders are rounded forwards. Okay, so it's a very common position for a mum to be in. They might have their baby or their child front on or side on, and they might be in a slouch position but cocking a hip out, or they might just hold something front onwards. And then again, that's placing some pressure on the lower back. It's really tightening through the front of the chest. It's tightening all the way through the rib cage, so it's restricting the ability to breathe properly. And there's a lot of pressure down on the pelvic floor. But also because your glutes are always turned on, or they're just always tight, it can be quite tough to stretch certain areas. So that's why we want to know what our posture is. Okay, so I'm going to draw this here, and I'm going to show you what you're sort of looking for. Okay. Alright, so I'm just drawing that one here. Whoops. Okay. Don't mind these figures. Okay, so when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you want to look at this sort of thing. Okay, so it's very delayed for me, so I'm going to turn it on this one. Alright, so if you were in neutral, it's the opposite for me. So it would be a straight line down the middle of your body. Your ear would line up with your shoulder, and your shoulder would be in line with the side of your hips, and everything would sort of be like that straight line. So if you were to draw a line down your photograph, that's what you'd be looking for, is that symmetry along the line. Whereas if you have that rounded posture with that bum that's squeezed all the time, then you're going to see how different it is along the line. You might actually find that your bum goes too much this way in front of the line, but then your back is behind the line, and then your head is in front of the line. Okay, and then there's the opposite, which is the complete extension of the lower back. And then you're going to have that protruding chest in front of the line, but then your bum is behind the line. So you can see how these postures are all quite different, and each of them will have different things that they will notice about their breathing. They will need to engage their glutes in a different way. They will need to engage their tummy muscles in a different way. And the things that they might need to relax and let go could be different according to each posture type, which is why I wanted to bring this to your attention so that you can understand which one that you are. Okay, so if you do know, based on now having done this, I'd like you to pop in the comments whether you have sway back, which is the rounded shoulders, or whether you have the anterior tilt, which is your bum sticking backwards. Or if you find that you're a neutral, or maybe you're a mix of both. Maybe you feel like your bum is sticking out and you have really rounded shoulders. That's also possible. If you do want any private analysis like this, you can send this to me privately and I can check which one you are as well. That's fine. Okay, so that's our first little check. And the way that you would find a neutral is I am going to show you. So we need to do these things first so that it's easy for you to then understand what the individual method is for your posture, for your rib shape, etc. Okay, so if you'd like to come with me now into an all fours position, I'm going to show you how to find a neutral spine. So if you ever hear me talk about a neutral spine, this is what I'm talking about. But again, depending on your posture type will depend whether you need a neutral spine for a lot of things that you're doing or not. So if you are imagining like those cat-cow positions where you round up through the back and then you come into that gentle arch, to find your neutral is to do that. So you can do that a couple of times to exaggerate the arch, exaggerate the round, and then find that midway point. Now the midway point is neutral. So anytime you hear me say neutral spine, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Hi Stevie, so good to have you on here. Okay, so you are the third drawing. So now I've forgotten which one I wrote as the third. So the third is the anterior tilt. Okay, really cool to know. So for those of you joining, I have a lady who is a part of my my membership, and she's doing a core repair, and she has some abdominal separation. It's quite minor, but you will find people with an anterior tilt, which is where their bum is sticking out. You can see how it automatically opens up through the tummy. Now when that opens up through the tummy, it actually can hold abdominal separation more open just because of that posture positioning. Isn't that really interesting? Versus if you were the other way around with that closed in rib cage and that rounded slouch posture, it would be a little bit easier potentially for it to come together easier, right? So it's really interesting how different posture types can affect the recovery after you have a baby as well. So we've done our little posture check. Okay, so Debbie, you are a combination. Awesome, thank you for sharing. Now the next one is to do our rib cage check. So if you did the last video with me, it was just leading up to this workshop. We're going through it again today. But I'm going to show you this and then I'd like you to go and do it for me. So it's fun because we have like a mix of fun activities for us all to do together. So alongside of our posture, what we might find is you might have, so this is the rib cage angle. So if this is your waistline, your arms, and then these are your ribs, we are looking for this line of the rib angle. We want to know what the angle is of the rib cage, because if we know that, then we know how we need to breathe differently and how we can adjust our posture. So for people who have the anterior tilt, which is where their bum sticks out, you might find that you have more of a wider rib cage. So this would be really interesting for you to give me that feedback of whether this is correct for you. And now people who have really slouched posture, you might find that you've got more narrow rib cage, but also maybe not. And then there's the 90 degrees, which is sort of the optimum shape that we want to be. That's where we're going to have the most optimum function of our breathing, of our engagement when we're doing our core work and stuff like that. So what I'd like you to do, literally with like a pen, a crayon, a lipstick or an eyeliner or something, what you're going to do is relax. You're going to find your rib line. See how I can grab it with my hands. So I might have to suck up, put my hands in and then relax into it. I want to find the shape of my ribs, and then I want to use that pen. So I would do it like this, like that. And then I would draw the line all the way down. So then see how I would draw all along here. So then I can see the shape. And so for me, I have narrow. And I have a little bit more of the slouched posture. So the way I engage my tummy is quite different to someone who has a wide rib cage. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to go and do that, and then let me know in the comments as well if you are not quite sure as well let me know if I need to maybe explain it a little bit more. So this stuff is so fun because this just gives us so much more of an idea of what we want to be targeting when we're doing specific workout videos. So if you are a member of our membership, then anytime you hear me do a particular cueing, you will now know, once we complete this 3-part video series, you will now know how to personalize it for yourself. So when you hear me cue in a video, you can say, okay, I know I need to adjust what she's saying because I have recently learned that I have narrow ribs, so I need to do my engagement in a slightly different way. And then the same with someone who has a wide rib cage. So you're going to be able to go and apply this really quickly if you are already a part of the membership. Okay, and if you're not, I'm thinking of maybe running a challenge where we just do like 2 to 3 weeks of just practicing these sorts of things in really basic movements to make sure that you're getting the most out of this new technique. So when you've done this one, just say so please in the comments, and then we're going to move on. All right. Okay, so you do have a wide rib cage, Stevie. That's so cool to know. And Stevie, I would like to know, do you still have any abdominal separation? And if you do, some of this stuff is going to be really, really cool for you. And Debbie, yours are a little bit narrow. Yeah, I agree. I think the challenge is really important because, you know, as much as it's really great to do the workout style challenges and, you know, to be a part of membership where there's a lot of constant moving, it's also really important, especially with times like now where we are probably a little bit more stressed than normal. And if we can help our bodies function better, we're going to be able to stay calmer. We're going to get more out of our movement moving forwards. And that's actually what we're going to go into in a minute, which I might do right now, because like the whole point of all of this is to function better, right? And one of the things that we're going to do today is breathing. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about that, of also the difference between the rib cages, okay? So if you have a look, I'm going to come a little closer. Okay, so we've got different breathing patterns here. This is our, oh my gosh, my camera's reversed on me and my couch is actually on the other side of what it's showing up in the camera. So I'm really confused where I am. Okay, so we've got my little people and we've got shallow breathing versus deep breathing. Now, can you see, like, just from looking at where the breath actually goes, it's really obvious straight away of what changes are going to be, right? So what would you rather? Would you rather be stressed, anxious, poor digestion, harder to turn on the right muscles? Would you rather be more on edge and just tighter restricted throughout your body? Or would you rather feel more relaxed, more patient, calmer, have better digestion, more efficient breathing, better use of your muscles, naturally lengthening and strengthening your pelvic floor, and have decreased back and neck pain or tightness and better activation of your tummy and pelvic floor muscles? Which one would you prefer? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Okay, no worries, Stevie. I can help you with that another time. So let me know which you prefer. And the reason I'm asking is because there is one simple difference between the two. Everything I explained on the first one was what happens when you shallow breathe. It's also what happens when you mouth breathe. Okay, so mouth breathing and shallow breathing will provide those sort of things towards your body. They put you in fight or flight mode, which is a completely different nervous system of the body, and that's not optimum functioning. Whereas if you get into a nose breathing pattern, if you get into long, deep breathing, which is not belly breathing actually, I am going to go over that today, then you're going to be able to enjoy all of these other benefits, and that comes purely from proper deep breathing. Deep breathing. Okay, isn't that super, super cool? So I'm going to share with you the benefits again. Okay, so Stevie, you're saying that you are the first option, and yes, but it's common to be the shallow breather, but of course you want the deep breathing one. So again, if you're a shallow breather, these are all of the commonalities that follow along with shallow breathing, which is stress, anxiety, poor digestion, harder to turn on the right muscles. You might have more tension and tightness in your body, and you may be more on edge. Whereas if we swap to nose breathing, if we swap to deep breathing, then we are able to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. And so by activating that nervous system, we're able to be more relaxed. We can be patient and calmer. We can have better digestion, more efficient breathing, better use of our muscles. And just by doing deep breathing, we naturally lengthen and strengthen our pelvic floor. And that's just naturally, without doing any blueberry stuff at all. And then that alongside of that will decrease back, neck pain, and activate our core and our pelvic floor correctly. So isn't that so cool? Oh my gosh. Okay, so you might still nose breathe, Stevie, but you could still shallow breathe with the nose breathing. So what we want to do is bring ourselves into nose breathing with deep breathing, and not nose breathing with shallow breathing, okay? Because that's definitely possible to nose breathe and shallow breathe. Okay, so we're going to be going through that breathing technique today. Some of you have done this with me already in a class, okay? But we're going to go through it again today anyway. Okay, so I'm just gonna wiggle backwards a little bit. All right, so some of the ways that you can bring yourself into that rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system are by not putting so much on your plate all the time, by doing some meditation, whether that be a passive meditation where you lie down, whether that be a walking meditation, whether that be a guided meditation, whether that be some yoga, like some yin yoga, whether that be journaling and just listening to music, like all of these sorts of things. When we start to slow down, we start to allow ourselves to relax, and when we can fully relax, we can let go. And when we let go, we're releasing tension, and we're able to slowly move into our rest and digest nervous system. And that's what we want, okay? So what we're going to do today is, actually, we were going to do one more test, but actually we'll do the next test tomorrow, because on Friday, because on Friday we're going to practice a new way of bracing according to your ribcage angle, and then we're also going to do a glute test, and then engaging our glutes according to that test. So I'll save that for Friday. So today, what we're going to do is we're just going to lie down first, and we're going to just breathe and relax for a little bit, and then I'm going to teach you something called a 360 umbrella breath. And we're just going to practice that together for a little bit. So we've probably got maybe another 10 or so minutes to go, 10 or 15 minutes. So if you would like to come down on the floor with me and just lie down with your arms and legs straight out and just close your eyes, I'm going to just take you through a little bit of a guided meditation. And then we're going to begin, because if we can get you into a little bit of a calmer state before we learn this breathing, it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, so enjoy getting yourself into that calming state. I'm going to put on some nice calming music as well. Alrighty. So lying on your back. Okay. Alright, YouTube ads. I'm just going to put some music on. So lying on your back, and just, if you need to prop your head up on a tiny little pillow so your neck doesn't feel like it's fully like arching back or like rounding forwards, then please do so. Okay, I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear some music. Okie dokie. So if you come and lie down on your back, I'm actually going to lie down with you as well. Alrighty. So just wiggling your body and finding your comfy position. If you need to prop something underneath your knees, you can. You absolutely can. But from this space, all we want to do is just start to relax and detach and let go. Let me know if you can hear the music as well, by the way. So right now, we're not focusing on a particular style of breath, but we are going to be releasing different areas of the body as we go. So just whatever your long, deep breathing is for right now, you can bring your attention to that, or you can just come along with me. And we're going to just start by bringing our attention to our forehead. Just noticing if there's any tension in the forehead. And then relaxing all the muscles of the forehead, like it's just melting down towards the floor. Noticing the muscles around the face, around the eyes, around the cheeks, around the mouth. And just making sure they feel relaxed, so letting them go. Letting them go. Letting them go. Just making sure that your teeth are just slightly apart, so the jaw feels nice and relaxed. And just notice how over time throughout this little visualization meditation, how much more your body just lets go, how much easier it becomes to just relax. And just notice what your neck feels like. Are you holding any tension? And just relaxing the neck, relaxing the shoulders. Noticing what your arms feel like. Do they feel light? Do they feel heavy? Do they feel awake? And just letting them go, letting them relax, letting them sink into the floor. And just noticing what your tummy feels like. Are you allowing expansion of your tummy? Does it feel restricted? Does it feel tight? And just releasing any tension that you've been holding there. Know that you're in a safe space and that it's okay to release any tension that's no longer serving you. And bringing your attention to your pelvic floor. Does it feel like you're engaging? Does it feel relaxed? Does it feel clenched? Does it feel tight? Does it feel weak? What does it feel like? It's okay to just let it go while you're lying here. And just noticing the position of your legs. Do they feel contracted by the muscles? Or do they feel like they're just flopping to the sides or just feeling floppy from relaxation of the muscles? And letting them go. Relaxing your feet, the arches of your feet, your toes, and just letting it all relax. And just scanning back along your body. Are there any points that have gone back to tension? And if there are, just try and re-relax those points. And now let's just use our imagination for a moment. If you could lie down anywhere in nature, where would you choose to lie down and chill out? Would it be the beach, or the mountains, or a forest, or a field of flowers? Wherever it is that you will dream of lying and chilling out, let's just bring ourselves to that space. And imagine that you are lying comfortably in that space. And when you take deep breaths through the nose, you can smell the air, the freshness of nature, the peacefulness and the stillness. And just take a few more deep breaths. And then you can slowly hug your knees in towards your chest. And when you're ready, you can slowly open up your eyes and you can pop in the comments how you are feeling now after having done that. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel calmer? Let me know how you're feeling. And then we're going to do some of this breathing. And then that will be all for today. Thank you for sharing, Debbie. So the reason that we also want to get ourselves into this calmer space before we do our breathing is exactly what you just said. It actually releases, because we're releasing tension, you're going to find now, we should have actually done the breathing before and after so you could feel the difference. Because if you try and do this breathing we're about to learn when you're tense, you're going to feel a lot of restriction in certain points of your body. So now that you actually feel more relaxed in your upper body, especially your back, you're going to have more range of motion for this type of breathing that we're about to do together. Okay, so we are going to learn something called umbrella breathing. But I just want to explain why we don't want to belly breathe. Okay, now belly breathing alone, what happens is it's too much stretch in the fascial wall, which is the sac that surrounds the muscles. And when there's too much stretch, you lose the muscle tone and the supporting system of those muscles. So just belly breathing alone is not enough. It's not functional. It is not going to be assisting your body in a way that is necessary for optimum function. Okay, so in the past you might hear me say belly breathing, and that's because I didn't even know this. So I am changing these things moving forwards. If you ever hear me say belly breathe from now on, picture what we're about to learn. Okay, so this particular breathing that we're doing now is called 360 breathing. Okay, so an umbrella breath. So if you picture this umbrella, if you popped up an umbrella, so I did this with Susan in our class last week. So umbrella breathing, when you pop up an umbrella, how does it go up? It goes up and then it also goes out on all sides, right? So it's lifting up and outwards together. So it's going like this and then it comes down as you let it down. It comes up and out in all directions. It's expanding in all areas and then it comes back downwards together. And so what happens is then we're allowing a proper expansion of all of the areas of our body. And when we are chest breathing, then we might find that we are really restricted in just one area of our body. And also, depending on your posture, you might find that you really struggle with a particular point in this breathing that we're going to do. So I'm going to take you through some different ways to practice this breathing. We're going to do it together sitting. We will do it on our backs and we'll also try on our side. Okay, there is more ways than this to practice, but just for today and the purpose of what we're learning right now, I think that that's plenty, and then if anyone wants to do a little challenge afterwards, maybe I can create something where we practice all the different styles of this so we can open up all of the spaces in our body. So I'm going to sit back here. So an umbrella breath, I'll show you what it will look like if I just sit on my bum. Okay, so I want to be expanding. If I put my hands like this, if you watch what happens to my rib cage, it's going to go that way, and it's also, if I'm like this, it's going to go that way as well. So everything is happening, and I'd like you to just put your hands like this and do this with me and feel, just be curious, what can I feel? Do I feel pressure building up inside of my tummy? Do I feel really restricted on the sides of my rib cage? Do I feel tightness anywhere? Do I feel like pain in my upper mid back, or do I feel restriction anywhere? So let's pay attention to where we're noticing all these things. So I'm going to have my hands like this, and if you watch what happens when I take a big inhale, okay. Now the trick here is we don't want to do this at the same time. We want to keep our shoulders and neck out of it. So that's a really fun little test for yourself. You could always wrap your hands around like this so you can feel the sides and the back, or you can do it like this. You might find that sitting up might be challenging to do this breathing, but you might find it easier if you're lying on your back. And then some people might find it harder on their back, but they might find it easy lying on their side, then they can feel that side expansion. So it's going to be really individual to how you're going to feel. I'm just going to see if anyone has written anything. Okay, so let's practice a little bit. All you need to do is just start off, you could have cross-legged, you could have your legs straight in front. But like I said before, just putting your hands, or you can put your hands like around so you can feel the side movement. Now when you go outwards, your chest is also going to rise, and you are going to have a little bit of belly breathing, but it's not going to be, I'll actually kneel up and show you what it looks like side on as well. Okay, so if I have my hands like this, see if you can see any changes on my back. Or even on my tummy. Now, if you were someone that had slouch posture and your head was forward, a little trick to keep your head back is to actually put your tongue, you know, like when you go to click, like, if you go to do that with your tongue, and then you hold your tongue like it's suctioning towards the back of your throat, if you hold that position, like, and you breathe just with your tongue up towards the back, without actually clicking, oh my gosh. It actually can help to realign that a little bit more. And also doing more, like spending maybe even just a minimum of 5 minutes per day lying flat on the floor, letting your arms out wide and just doing that relaxation. Or, you know, now that you practice your breathing, you can practice the breathing, but just spending 5 minutes a day on the floor can also start to correct that slouched posture and bring you more into that neutral. Okay, so let's practice popping your hands around your ribs. Remember, this is not going to be easy the first time you do it. It might not even be easy the second, fifth, 10th time you do it. This is going to take months and months of practice for this to become an automatic, unconscious sort of thing for you. But the more times you practice, so even if you just practice between 4 and 6 times in one sitting, that is great. Doing that multiple times per day, you're going to start building that new awareness of how you're now breathing. Okay, so hands on your rib cage and deep breath like your umbrella into all sides of your rib cage. And when you exhale, let's aim to try and exhale out between like maybe 70% of the air. Okay, now we're going to go onto our backs, and you know what? We're not going to do too much more of the breathing because I don't want to go too long for this training, because I don't want it to get too overwhelming. So come onto your back now, and now you're going to put your hands back onto your ribcage, and you're going to have feedback now because your back is actually touching something. So this will be really cool. You want to see if you have an anterior tilt, so your bum sticking backwards, you might want to just place something underneath your arch of your back so you can have some feedback to press into as you inhale, depending on how wide that gap is underneath your mid to lower back. Otherwise, when you inhale, you want to aim to try and press into the floor with your back out wide to the sides, and then that upwards motion as you inhale. Okay? So, all in your own time. It might feel a little bit strange pressing your back into the floor as you inhale, and you will notice as you inhale that your pelvic floor will also relax, and then as you exhale it might just slightly lift and engage. Especially if you're a member of On Demand, that's what we've been practicing for a really long time. So while you're doing this, just be observant. Where do you find it easy to breathe? Do you find it easy to go out to the side? Do you find it easy to go up more into the front of the rib cage? Do you find it easy to back breathe, or are you finding that there's some restrictions? And if you're finding that there are restrictive points, would you please pop where they are in the chat, and then I will be able to show you a specific breath to be able to help you expand those areas as well. So let's just do one or two more of those breaths and aim to relax the shoulders even more. Keep your feet grounded on the floor. Okay. So letting me know in the comments where you felt like the tight points were. I'd like to know. Okay. So again, we're breathing like an umbrella. Inhaling to open to all of those directions, and then exhaling to relax. Okay, now I'm waiting for some comments to show up on where was tight or felt restricted for you. So until I see some of those comments, I'm going to share some action steps for you to take away and practice at home until Friday for our next little class. Okay. Okay, so Stevie says maybe doing the core repair found the breathing okay to do. That's really great. Really, really cool. So was there, if you're not sure, actually for anyone who has joined, I would love you to video how you breathe on your back, because by me watching you, I might actually be able to pick up on what's happening and what's not happening better than you. So if you would like me to check that, I would love to analyze a video, Okay, so please, you can take one just like in the view of how I was lying before if you did want to do that, and just send it to me privately. Okay, and the tight points were on the side for Debbie. Okay, so that's actually a really cool thing that you can work on manually yourself. If you find that you're restricted along the sides here, you feel like it just doesn't happen that way, or even like if you poke around this part of your tummy, does it feel tight? Does it feel sore? If you press anywhere, does it feel tight? Do you ever get pain anywhere all through here? And if you do, or if you have a narrow rib cage, this is where skin rolling and cupping, like self-cupping, will come in. So you want to be pulling the skin really hard and out wide. So pulling the skin and rolling down, this is going to help to open and stretch out the fascia to release and allow more space for breathing. So this is skin rolling, which is the same as like cupping with those suction cups, which helps to release that fascia. Okay, so I have a little cup that I use in the shower now, and it's amazing, and it's crazy the difference that you feel in your breathing, like before versus after. So you could just, sit there and do this and pull. You have to be quite firm, pulling all along like the fronts and the sides. So this is skin rolling. So again, if we do a little challenge, I would video all of this stuff as like little tutorials as well. But this is just something that you could do at home. But your homework is just to practice this breathing, okay, your umbrella breathing. If you have an anterior tilt, you're going to need to breathe more into your back and potentially your sides. If you have that slouched posture, the sides and the front is going to be really important as well. Okay, so practicing your umbrella 360 breathing for homework, and also 5 minutes per day minimum of just relaxing flat on the floor and being conscious of how am I breathing throughout the day. So by practicing this 360 umbrella breathing, you might like to be mindful of how you're breathing throughout the day. And then if you notice that you're in a shallow breathing pattern, or your chest breathing, or maybe you're feeling tension in your upper body, or maybe you are maybe feeling impatient or a little stressed, bring yourself back to 5 or 6 of these umbrella breaths. Okay, and then see how you feel after that. But again, always do it with your hands around you so that you can actually have that feedback of what it feels like, especially when you're on the floor. Okay, so that is all for today. We covered a lot today, and I actually had more, but I don't want to do more. I think that that's enough, and we've got plenty of time to do other things. So I'd love to know some takeaways from today. What was like your biggest takeaway from today? Was there anything that you maybe didn't know that you're really happy that you know? And one other homework tip is to move to nose breathing if you don't already. But remember, nose breathing doesn't also mean it's deep breathing. So that's why we want to remember the umbrella. Okay? So I'll be sending out the replay later today alongside the link for Friday, because it's not the same link as today. All right, so on Friday, we are going to be doing how to engage your core muscles using this breathing and your posture type and your rib angle. And also, how do we engage glutes according to your posture type as well. Okay, so thank you so much for jumping on with me and spending this time with me. And I will see you on Friday. Bye-bye.